Well, let's talk a little bit of budget. And did this hit the mark for young Canadians? That's who he was targeting.
That's the most important question, and I think it fell way short. I mean, it's one thing after 8.5 years to say, oh, I finally get it, after saying that it was not federal responsibility. Now I'm going to start doing something about housing. There are actually some interesting measures in there, but it's not going to do anything between now and the next election. He was trying to get back the millennials and the Gen Zs, the ones who are 43 and under, and I think it fell way short. They know that Trudeau completely let them down for the past 8.5 years. They know that they're the first generations in Canadian history to actually be poorer than their parents, to have less of a chance of owning a home. And you know, Roger, Mr. Trudeau's been talking about the middle class and people who work hard to join the middle class. What's a better symbol that you've joined the middle class than the ability to own a home? And for those generations, it's just not within their grasp. If you live in a place like Vancouver or Toronto, good luck trying to buy a home. And so Poilievre is sticking to his message and not taking the bait with regard to the capital gains tax increase, which is substantial and will not be hurting the richest of the rich, as many small business groups and journalists now, it's taken a couple of days for the dust to settle on this. They're pointing out, hey, you're really giving a sock in the jaw to a lot of small business people, entrepreneurs, artisans who, you know, they don't get a government pension. You know, they might have bought a triplex, live in one of them, rent out the other two. All of a sudden, they're going to get hit with a whopping increase in their capital gains, a 33% increase in what has to be brought into income. People are finally starting to notice that and know it's not Trudeau going after the super rich. He's going after super ordinary Canadians, and they're starting to see it.
And also just average Canadians, if you have a cottage or any property or anything like that, if you want to sell, you'll be paying for that as well, or through inheritance.
Exactly. And even if you give it to your kids, it's a deemed disposition, and you're still hit with the full whack of this new capital gains tax. So I don't know where Freeland got her number. She said it's 0.14. That's pretty specific percent of Canadians who are going to be hit by this. But I guess it was some sort of number put together by the gnomes in the finance department saying, oh, well, we have this many last year, and therefore it translates to this percentage of the population. But look, Roger, I was talking yesterday to somebody who's been in real estate for 25 years. In the area where I am, there are indeed a lot of cottages and a lot of triplexes and you know, four unit buildings. And she was saying, look, over the next 9 weeks, it's going to be total chaos because people are going to start unloading, because this new massive tax increase that Trudeau has brought in on the middle class is only going to kick in on June 25th. So people are going to be unloading properties between now and then. And who's going to be soaking up those properties? People who have lots of cash. Maybe the rich are the ones who are benefiting from Trudeau's thing. And he's still trying to sell this as him standing up to the wealthy and Poilievre defending them. Poilievre's doing nothing of the kind. He's sticking to his basic messages about the cost of living, housing, inflation, groceries, and the like. He's not taking the bait that Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland ham-fistedly try to put out there for him.
And a lot of young people, are they going to stay? A lot have been flocking towards the Conservatives. Is it hitting home about deficits, what we're running, and the debt that we have? Are they paying attention to that, young people?
Yes, and what's interesting there, Roger, it's a bit of an irony, because you'd never think spontaneously that Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives are scoring on the issue of sustainable development. But one of the key aspects, the core of sustainable development, is fairness towards future generations. And that notion of intergenerational fairness is at the heart of what Poilievre is selling right now. So Trudeau can talk until the cows come home, and use rhetoric and posture. But people are looking at the reality. Their parents are having trouble paying for their groceries. They're never going to be able to afford a house. They're saying this has changed in 8.5 years. And what was the change that started this? It was the arrival of the Trudeau Liberals. Interestingly enough, even Bill Morneau yesterday, who was for 5 years the finance minister of Trudeau, he was out hitting hard against the massive increase that's proposed for the capital gains, and saying, look, not only is it unfair, it's unwise for, in trying to get people to invest and to come into the market and to create jobs. But he said beyond that, there's an essential unfairness to it because it's basically retroactive. So again, keep your eyes. There will be stories in the news in the next few weeks as people try to unload things and the market takes a big shift. It's a huge intervention in the market, supposedly to help the average folks at the expense of the rich. It's exactly the opposite of what Trudeau and Freeland are trying to sell in this.
Okay, Tom, always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.